self-awareness is a key. It's a key piece. I recently had to end a relationship with a person who had no self-awareness. And if they did have self-awareness, then that means that they were actually a horrible, manipulative human being. And I don't want to believe that. So I'm going to believe that they just didn't have a lot of self awareness, because I'm going to believe that the traits and characteristics that they displayed and the harmful behaviors that they enacted, that they were slightly unaware of the behaviors. Now, they couldn't have been unaware of the behaviors that they were told about numerous times, things like boundaries, like, hey, I'm on a different time zone, so please don't call me before this time unless it's an emergency, right? Blah, blah, blah. Little things like that, right? But if a person tells you who they are, you need to believe them. If a person tells you that they are procrastinators, then believe them. If a person tells you, yeah, I am so lazy, I do everything last minute, you need to believe that. If a person tells you, I am so skilled at manipulating and lying, if I wanted to take advantage of a person, I could really do that. You need to believe that when they are telling you those things, that they are telling you those things for a reason, and you need to be carefully considering those things. One of the things that I have a habit of doing, and it's something that comes from years of being gaslit as a child, is giving people what I like to call the benefit of the doubt, right? A lot of us get socialized and programmed into giving this ultimate benefit of a doubt, even to people who don't deserve it or who've done nothing to show it, right? I remember when I was a little girl, my mom would do all of these like harmful, horrible things, and everybody's only excuse would be like, well, that's your mom, and you know how she is. Okay, that's my mom, and I know how she is, but why is it okay that everybody is gaslighting me into accepting horrible treatment and horrible behavior? Why is it that whenever I run away from home, y'all call her and tell her I'm there? Like, don't you think I'm running from something that I don't want to be harmed? Like, I used to think about that, and I thought about, what would make people have such a lack of what I used to think was empathy, but it really wasn't. It was really around awareness, right? And the way that we see ourselves is a direct reflection in the way we see other people and interact with the world. Our concept is the thing that brings us into connection and interaction with the rest of the world. So when we don't like ourselves, whether it's the way we look or the way we talk or the way we dress or our weight or our hair or our skin tone or our hair texture or whatever the thing is we don't like about ourselves, that is the thing that we are constantly trying to prove is good. I wrote a book, and it was specifically for women to learn how to decenter white women and whiteness in relationships and in lives in general, because a lot of times people really don't understand how, rather than focus on our own wellness, our own priorities, our own well-being, we end up focusing on other people. We end up focusing outward. And so decenter white women was all about, first and foremost, acknowledging how whiteness shows up for you, assessing your safety in the spaces where you are, about, um, acknowledging or addressing your wounds and pain, and really being able to assess for yourself and decide the relationships that you want to have with the world. And that comes from you first and foremost deciding on the relationship that you want to have with yourself. And that begins with strategic self awareness. So what we're going to do is we are going to start off and by asking some tough questions. And I want to think about the questions from the standpoint of, these questions are personal, these questions are private, and these questions are pivotal to managing your own radical change. So we're going to dive in deep. So here we go. The first thing you'd want to do when you are really looking at assessing who you are is asking the question, what is the qualities that you most admire? What quality do you most admire about yourself? Some people admire their own looks. Some people admire, maybe their physique. Some people admire things like accomplishments, whether academic or educational. Something people admire the way they've been able to amass something, whether it's a fortune or maybe it's friends or maybe it's, social media followers or whatever. But if I think about qualities, right, personal qualities, I think about, do you consider yourself an honest person? Do you consider yourself a person that has integrity? Do you consider yourself a person that is kind? Do you consider yourself a person that shows sympathy and compassion to others, right? What are the qualities that speak to who you are that you most admire? The second question is, how do you feel about your achievements and accomplishments? Like, how do you feel about them? Like, do you feel like, wow, I have done some great and fantastic things in this world, and I'm super proud of these things? And whether that is graduating from college, whether that is getting a scholarship, whether that is getting an award, whether that is getting a certificate, whatever the thing may be, right? How do you feel about your achievements and accomplishments? Now, for a lot of people who got told like things about bragging or being arrogant, you might have got, told to downplay your achievements. You may have been a person that got told to downplay your accomplishments. If you were a person that got told to downplay your achievements and accomplishments, then you may struggle with that. And you may say, well, that was 10 years ago, or that was 20 years ago, or that wasn't a big deal. And the way you feel about your accomplishments and your achievements ties directly into the things that you would admire about yourself, right? So let's say you admire about yourself that you are resilient and you had to spend 8 years going to college part-time because of, different challenges in your life. That is something that admire about yourself, and because of that, maybe that achievement, right, was something that was really a big deal for you, right? How do you feel about your various achievements and accomplishments? And with that question, right, I would ask, is the way you feel about your achievements and accomplishments based on your own viewpoint, or is it based on what other people have told you or how you've been conditioned to feel about your achievements and accomplishments?